How's it going, everyone? Blueknight here, and welcome back to another Ratchet Clank Rift Apart video. So the most recent PS5 showcase event just wrapped up yesterday, where Sony showed off a bunch of games coming exclusively to the PS5, of which Ratchet Clank Rift Apart was not one of the games that was showcased. I mean, I get it, Rift Apart isn't going to be a PS5 launch game in November like Insomniac's Spider-Man Miles Morales, as Rift Apart was confirmed a couple weeks back during Gamescom 2019 to be releasing within the console's launch window, which is within like 3 months from the PS5's launch, which is in November, the 12th for the US, Canada, Japan, and select other countries, and November 19th for the rest of the world, selling at $4.99 in the US for the standard edition, which is capable of playing physical games, and $3.99 for the digital edition, which cannot play physical discs, with the game selling for an upwards of $70. Yikes. That's like a $10 spike of the highest priced games for this current generation. But I do have to mention that not every game is going to be that price. Thank goodness, as Sackboy: A Big Adventure is going to be selling for $59.99 US, while Spider-Man Miles Morales is selling for a reasonable $49.99 US, with the Ultimate Edition selling for $69.99 US, and the reason for that is because it contains a remastered, updated version of Marvel's Spider-Man PS4 to take advantage of the PS5's capabilities, along with free extra suits and much more. Now, for some of you, these prices might look scary if you're looking into buying the next generation of PlayStation, and I don't blame you for that, because I'm in the same boat as the rest of you. But there is some good news for current gen owners, as not all of the games that were announced as PS5 exclusives are remaining PS5 exclusives. Instead, some of them are cross-gen titles, releasing on both the PS4 and the PS5, despite Sony wanting first-party studios to mainly focus on harnessing the full power of the PS5. But regardless, these games include Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and Horizon Forbidden West, with Spidey and Sackboy being PS5 launch titles, albeit they'll be lacking some of the PS5's features like the haptic feedback and stuff like that, but they will still look beautiful regardless. Plus, you'll receive a free PS5 upgrade for these games if you already got the PS4 versions, while the rest of the announced PS5 games, as of right now, they are not confirmed to be cross-gen titles. Later on it could be, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Now, I do have to give Sony some credit where credit is due for making this decision to have cross-gen games, because the transition from current gen to next gen is never easy, especially in this case with the prices being as high as they are. I mean, come on, we've got the PS Plus collection with some of the absolute best PS4 games being available to download to the PS5 on day one, making that transition even more easier on top of the already existing backwards compatibility. And also some places like GameStop are offering buy now, pay later plans to help out with people wanting to transition over to the PS5, and that's a great idea, to be honest. So anyways, Sony being a bit more consumer friendly for current gen PS4 owners instead of just completely abandoning the system in favor of the PS5 is a really nice thing to see, as we really don't get to see this happen with PlayStation exclusives like ever, especially Insomniac Games titles, which tend to be exclusive to that generation and not the previous one. But this does bring up a rather interesting question. Since Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is developed by Insomniac Games, is confirmed to be a cross-gen title, could Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart wind up as a cross-gen title too? Well, I'm thinking no with a question mark, and the reason being that Insomniac Games has made it rather clear that this game was built from the ground up for the PS5, and that the PS5 is allowing them to do so much more than they ever could do on previous generations of hardware. For example, warping between planets and dimensions in an almost instant. That could not be done on the PS4, as that specific feature relies heavily on the PS5's custom SSD, which basically eliminates all loading screens. And if this game was on the PS4, it'd be a completely different game altogether. However, Insomniac Games has stated that certain sections like these are isolated and used only for special moments in the game. More precisely, when we're chasing after Dr. Nefarious, and that alone really prevents it from being a cross-gen title. I mean, I could be wrong, and within a month's time, Sony will be like, hey, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is also coming to the PS4. Okay, sure. I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be complaining. If they can pull it off, alright. And I can already see the comment section being filled with, hey, if Spider-Man Miles Morales can be on the PS4 and the PS5, then why can't Ratchet & Clank? Well, Spider-Man Miles Morales is more or less the same type of game as the first one, an open-world New York City with lots of combat and exploration, while Ratchet & Clank are taking it up a notch. Yes, it's sort of the same run-and-shoot adventure we're used to, but a more upgraded experience. Yes, we're probably still going to have the ship from previous games to travel from planet to planet, but as for constantly hopping between dimensions and planets, like I said earlier, it's only used for specific moments in the game, and we're not going to be doing that for the entire game. But then there's the weapons to take into account, as Marcus Smith, creative director at Insomniac Games, stated that the DualSense controller is basically tailor-made for Ratchet & Clank weaponry, because of all of the haptic feedback you feel when using your weapons, but also unique uses of the DualSense's adaptive triggers for like the Enforcer, for instance, where if you pull down the trigger halfway, you fire one shot, but if you pull it down all the way, you fire both. So arguably, everything else outside of the dimension hopping segments could technically be done on the PS4. It's just these specific portions of the game that serves as a main issue for this being a cross-gen game, because without the PS5's SSD, what you're seeing in the game is not possible, and that's simply it. But anyways guys, that's about all I really have to say for this video. I know I rambled on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I do hope that this cleared up any questions about Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart being a cross-gen game before those questions do start to pop up. So if you guys still have any questions, or really anything at all, be sure to leave it down in the comments section below, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell to stay up to date with the latest Ratchet & Clank news, updates, discussions, theories, anything like that as they happen, which should be sometime soon. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and the support. I've been Blueknight, and I'll see you guys back here next time.